Well, first of all, that's because, I think we've read your document. It's a public document. We think it has, to be honest, a lot of holes in it. And we think that really you run into trouble, as you let more time go by as an exhibitor. And if you haven't read the document, I would encourage all of you to read it carefully. Our approach, however, is approaching it as a grown-up business. We're committing to each other for 10 years. And we're committing, and we have more in common between distribution and exhibition than not. We both want these systems to work. We both want these systems and the manufacturers to assure that you're going to get the performance out of these systems over the entire period and require that performance happen. We're agreeing to assist in the financing, and you can be assured of the VPF payment that we're going to pay you. But someone has to keep track of what the systems cost and the point at which you reach recoupment, and we don't really look at that as a burden. In fact, we look at it as being responsible and as a requirement. And I think that in terms of our dealings with the exhibition, in fact, we have closed our long-term agreements with a number of exhibitors, and we are undergoing now, we are probably in discussion with, I would say, between 15 and 20 different individual exhibitors in the US and probably an equal amount in the international market. And the key thing about this is you shouldn't just sign a simple agreement, because this is not a simple installation. And you need to have all of the assurances out of your end of the bargain as we do out of our end of the bargain. And it should be approached that way. What we've added to the mix is an opportunity, because 3D, is an ignition point, is a simple one-page letter, not a 20-page letter, to get you to install the system and be assured that as we do take our time and you have the choice to enter into a deployment agreement directly with us or choose to use a third-party integrator, that one system that you have for 3D will be paid VPFs retroactively. So we believe that our approach to the market is a much more mature approach, and at the end of the day, we both get the benefits of what we bargained for.
Hold on just a sec, George, because I don't want to leave that idea quite yet. And I want to say, partially in defense of Mark's 20-page agreement, there are a lot of things that Mark does with his agreement that eliminate the need to have a bunch of contract provisions. For example, the agreement is not predicated on cost recoupment. He keeps paying up to a term certain, and if you recoup the costs before that term, too bad, that's good for you. Too bad for him, good for you. The other thing that is unique about Mark's agreement is the alternative content fees and usage fees. It's irrelevant to Mark. He doesn't charge for that because there is no such thing as a cost recoupment cap. So that by itself can simplify the agreement. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with Julian that there may or may not be provisions that should be there that aren't, or provisions that aren't there, whatever. But there are some reasons why it can be simpler, and I'll turn it over to Mark and let Julian go back and forth a bit on that as well.
Yeah, well, the reason we didn't get into an alternative content fee structure is, as you said, we don't have a recoupment. But the other answer to that is, right now, if you guys put up something on Friday night and take us down, and we find out about it, you know what's going to happen. And that's why I say that the existing relationship between distributors and exhibitors makes a lot of the things in the integrator deal unnecessary in a direct deal. So in the 35mm world, there are no fees for alternative content. And in the digital world, we want to make it as much like a film deal as we can. And if you do something that we don't think you should be doing, you're probably going to hear from us. And you're going to be making a film deal with us on pictures going forward. And we think that we can deal with any issues that have to do with alternative content being on the screen when maybe we don't think it should be. We can deal with that in our regular licensing agreement. So that's why we don't have anything about alternative content fees. Other clauses in there, I mean, we were able to take out all the things about guaranteed playback. When we're dealing with an integrator doesn't necessarily care if we're off the screen on Friday night, because the way these things work, we still have to pay if it's on for the whole week. Maybe they miss 24 hours worth of shows. There are different levels of when you can be off the screen and suffer a VPF penalty, but what we feel is no one's more aware and cares about having the picture up on the screen than exhibitors. If you guys are dark, you're getting hurt as bad or worse than we are. And so we feel that your best interest is going to serve us there. We don't need to write something in the contract that says you need to be up. We know you need to be up, and you know you need to be up. So it's that kind of thing that we just re-looked at it and said, too much complexity, too many guarantees that have to do with a third party that's in the middle that we don't need. Now, one thing I do want to make clear, we certainly think there's a place for an integrator. They provide financing, they provide expertise, they can provide network, they'll keep you updated, they'll keep you on, they'll bring service. So we don't think that integrators are an unnecessary party. And you may want to sign this deal and go out and have an integrator service the deal for you. And I could certainly see that as a scenario. You may sign our deal and find out that digital cinema is very complex, and keeping your system up to date is more work than you ever thought it would be. You might want to change to an integrator deal. You can do that. So, again, I think we've thought out as far as we possibly can, and we're very comfortable with it.
But bottom line, Mark, Bill's right. I mean, unless we get a critical mass of participants in direct-to-exhibitor arrangements of your stripe, it's dead in the water, right?
No, correct. I mean, but somebody had to go out there and try to get it started. Someone had to sign the first Arts Alliance agreement, and I believe that was you, Julian. Somebody has to get in there and do it, and when he signed the Arts Alliance agreement, it wasn't effective. No one could go to Arts Alliance and make a deal. Some other studios had to say, yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea, and they signed it, and then the deal flew. And that's the way these things work. I mean, it's difficult for us to say, well, we're going to go ahead and make payments to you guys, but we don't care if Studio X doesn't pay you at all. That's a difficult thing for us to swallow, and it's certainly a difficult thing for us to talk to our finance people about. They don't like to hear that.